With this latest leak of the Jujutsu Kaisen manga, it's high time we start asking for the prosecution of this man, GEGE Akutami, as he has created one of the most awful and yet beautiful plots in anime and manga history. He has had this devious plan in the works for ages, and I suspect that is why he hides his identity, to protect himself from the consequences of his evil schemes, and I will say, that is a wise choice for an evil genius to make. Many of us fans saw this coming, but still, the way GEGE presented it to us fans, it really caught me off guard, and ironically it surprised us the fans the same way it surprised the characters spectating the climatic battle. This is why it is said, too much of anything isn't good. This is what happens when someone is too good for their own good. I hope you are taking notes, Koyoharu Gojo. But the reason for me calling for the prosecution of GEGE Akutami isn't just because of the latest leak of Chapter 236, but because of how good he is at playing with the mental and emotional state of the audience and stringing them to flow along as he wants to the story. Never failing to leave us on the edge, killing fans with the anxiety to know more, and yes, many shonen series have done a great job of making fans anxious for what's next, but at least in my opinion, no one does it better than GEGE Akutami. And the technique that GEGE uses to achieve this is what I call the known unknown. It was no secret in the Jujutsu Kaisen community that Gojo would die as a result of his battle with Sukuna, and a lot of fans, myself included, was patiently waiting for that moment, but waking up this morning and seeing my brother post on his status with these exact words: "Never cried so hard for an anime character before, the feeling is bad." I was honestly distraught seeing the image of one of the goats lying face up with blood gushing from his mouth, when at the last panel of the previous chapter, he was all fine and beaming with that beautiful radiant light we in the JJK community are accustomed to seeing Gojo radiate. Still, not believing this, I rushed to check what the internet has to say, and what I found totally ruined my entire day. The first piece of news I get early on a Wednesday morning is the death of Satoru Gojo. And I'm shocked that I am feeling this way for a character that isn't even in my top 3 favorites in the series. Toji Fushiguro is my favorite character in the series, and I didn't even feel bad at all for him being killed. But here is Satoru Gojo, a man I enjoyed seeing getting destroyed by Toji and enjoy playing the diss song Kuriojuice made about him, dies, and teardrops are about to escape my eyes. This is a great example of how to write a character everyone will love and respect, even though you might find them annoying, and not actually be into them. I will do a video analysis on that topic in another video. But going back to the video, GEGE Akutami just showed us his hands, revealing his curse technique, and how it works to us, and despite knowing or expecting what is to come, it still hits us fans, and it hits us really hard. I don't really want to get into what happens in the leaks, as this video serves as a way for me to show my grievances toward GEGE for the crime of being too good, and I plan on releasing a video on that on the 24th of this month, the official release date of the leaked Chapter 236, the day being Sunday. Plus, I assume that most of you by now have already heard of what happens, but I'll just give you my short gist of the whole chapter, and that is, Gojo wasn't as victorious as we were made to believe in the previous chapter, the chapter been Chapter 235, and we find out that's because of how Mahoruga's adaptation works, which Sukuna explains is more of a gradual process, and the more attacks that Mahoruga took, the more he adapted to the technique, hence giving Mahoruga the ability to cut the world of infinity. Working on an interesting video for Mahoruga, by the way, so stay tuned. We are then shown Sukuna giving his last respect to Gojo, who has the upper half of his body laying on the ground, and his bottom half still standing, and Sukuna tells Gojo that he won't forget him, and Gojo, in typical Gojo style, just smiles to that. Rushing in, as though unaffected by what just happened, Kashimo charges into the battlefield, to do what he has longed most for years. To battle with the King of Curses, Ryomen Sukuna, who tells Kashimo not to let him down. Though for some reason, I feel that statement is directed more towards Gojo. Like Sukuna is telling him not to die, as Gojo might be able to survive this, but with a permanent disability rendering Gojo unable to fight anymore. And my theory for this is that maybe Gojo can somehow make the effects of the slash that cut infinity to keep moving in infinity, but to achieve this, he has to dedicate his entire cursed energy trying to nullify the slash with domain amplification, as we haven't seen Gojo use it before, and it won't be impossible for Gojo to somehow play with domain amplification and reverse curse technique to stay alive, but at the cost of not having cursed energy to do anything else. If this theory is to play out like this, then that would mean Gojo have to spend the rest of his life fighting Mahoruga's slash to stay alive, and could require someone like Shoko or Yuta, sorcerers specialized in reverse curse technique, to be at his side constantly to avoid death, like how patients with terminal illnesses have to stay close to medical professionals to stay alive or healthy. But then again, it's just a theory that I don't really see as bearing much weight, but would make a little more sense if it were to be true. Well, with all that being said, thank you for watching. This is I Am Not a Weeb, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider subscribing, leave a like, and share this video if you can, as it will be greatly appreciated and help give me the boost to create more interesting content. Don't forget to turn on notifications, as I will have more interesting videos for you, starting from the 24th of this month. That's it for today. God bless you all.
turn it up.